So generally speaking, I was a bit fed up because I spent too many times in privacy communities, and usually they're full of toxic people spreading paranoid mentality. And after the COVID and after kind of like in the midst of war, because I'm Ukrainian, I'm kind of fed up of those people saying to me that, yeah, we're all gonna die. Not really, but let's see. Where's Sterling? He said that we're all gonna die. I'm not ready. I'm not ready for that thing. So what I was thinking, that's my kind of past life. I spent many years in advertising agencies, helping from Coca-Cola to MasterCard. I was really ashamed and embarrassed of my experience because after many years of Cannes Lions, helping brand managers, I understood that basically advertising is a culture of selling bullshit and moving people towards consumerism and from connectivity with each other. And now we are doing meetups, advocating for privacy, and kind of find my thing and also how I could relate privacy with the surveillance capitalism. This is kind of fictional story that I will tell, but it draws many interesting things from existing market. And my role here is to share some personas, including some people in the room who are a part of privacy community, and then to mediate like how we can really connect with each other. And this is a partially joke because I know that it's bad to read slides. But I'm super interested that so many people are talking about privacy, but they have in mind like 100 different versions of privacy, because there are many people who advocate for corporate privacy. Polygon Nightfall with Ernst & Young. There are many people who advocate for Kurdistan privacy, Iranian privacy, you name them, or financial, commercial, capitalist super privacy to taxation. And read Maggie Nelson, she's great. And those will be now the personas of people who infiltrated privacy market. Jen, say hi. And they are quite familiar to many of you who were in the privacy communities. Like our first hero is a dude, usually man, who is going to privacy community chats, communication, and patronizes other people that they should use Linux. Fuck you, MacBook. You should have a dummy phone, burner phone, whatever. And then I'm like, dude, go to Brazilian favelas and try to pitch the same narrative. And you have lots of money to travel. Like, why you kind of like expose your privileged lifestyle on us? But one comment, what you should do with those people. Don't add them into your community. They will destroy your vibe. But they're hyper experts in the tech, in their knowledge. So support them, put them on the spotlight at the conferences, make a podcasts, Twitter spaces, whatever. Spread the knowledge, but understand that they're terrible soft skills people, which is the reality. Second, my beloved one, kinda, again, somehow they're men. I know how come, and I usually joke how you put empathy on chain, how you put diversity on chain, inclusion on chain, because those dudes, they will be super happy to live in this decentralized world when they will have all the power in their own hands. Problem with those people is that they go into those forums or chats, and again, they start to patronize, you should do privacy my own way. I know the best privacy. I am in the market for many years. I'm an activist, blah, blah, blah. And then the problem is like, try to avoid working contact with them, but again, support them in the conferences, separate your personal relations, because if emotions will come into play, you could burn out your fragile activist, idealist motto, because those people, they kind of like cannibalize your energy, and because they use it in the nature of privacy, in the sense of they're the only Jesus Christ with privacy, not you. It's a wordplay. It was anon, and then I was like, oh, I can have a wordplay, because sometimes I've been to Athens recently. I met the old anarchist, and he was saying that, hey, do you know what? Many progressive people on the left or on the radical left, they are much more conservative than the ones they're criticizing, because they always patronize you and criticize you. Oh, you're not doing it right. You're not behaving right. You're not talking right. Blah blah blah. They're teaching. They're like my mom or my teacher in the first grade. Fucking boring. And in privacy, all those people, CBDC, CBDC, CBDC. I'm like, guys, again, somehow guys, why you're not building? Why you're just talking? Why you're spreading fears? Why you just don't go and support the other people? So I think the certain curation of this communication, it what matters. Amir Taki was saying today that even in dark fight chat, there used to be like on Telegram they had a public chat without the rooms, and it was full of people talking about Jews, Jews. Like, hey, how to set up a node, but what about Jews? And it's kind of became too annoying that you cannot have good discussions when you don't filter them. And what they did, they started to filter. Here's a technical chat. Again, people come and like, hey, what about Jews? Like, oh, stop here. There's a political chat. Discuss your political, not even agenda, but frustrations there, but separate from the tech talk, supportive talk, meme talk, whatever. And also, I guess those people, they need some sort of be navigated what they could really do. Because some of them, unfortunately, they're kind of, they don't have a specific interesting skills, or they are so frustrated that they don't know what to do in their lives. And it's really interesting how we can help them. Because I met many activists and they're like saying, I'm a good activist, but what do you do? What can you do? I'm a good at organizing speakers. I'm like, I don't know. Like, what else? I'm good at making some events. How many events we can do in a year? Like, I don't know, 10? Like, if everyone would be a good organizer, who would work? Like, who would do whatever, invoicing? Who would write blog posts, so on. And I think what's important here is to really try to fragment and apply the soft skills or hard skills mind framework into who person is. One of the favorite examples, because it's a counter-argument to the privacy purists. Privacy purists would say, Limone, go to hell, die, you, Ethereum, blah, blah, pre-mined, tra-ta-ta. Although Limone is the co-organizer of ETH Rome, he will make events who will empower hundreds of hackers do demos for privacy market. Maybe those projects will find funding. Maybe that funding will help researchers to do better research at the market. And finally, you have a person who is fucking making fun. And maybe sometimes we're forgetting that the privacy also should be fun in a way. Not everyone should be a clown in privacy, but some of the people could. Also because maybe in their country, being open, honest, and flamboyant is the way, like in the States. I'm not sure if Suleiman is watching. He said he will watch. He's a flamboyant one. Many people don't like the open, flamboyant, spunk chain vibe, but we need everyone in the room. And we need to speak their language, not just our, whatever, Luna Park language. I was interested that in Denver, there were almost no talks around cypherpunks. Although I know that crypto is an industry that is cannibalized by people when they hear what Vitalik is saying, they're like, oh, okay, we can make money on this. Let's run, whatever. Account abstraction, let's go. Something with privacy, let's go. And I don't see that hype on privacy. And it's interesting. It means that the community kind of failed to elevate the voice because there's a mainstream dude who's coming and saying, hey, all Ethereum should be cypherpunk. And I'm like, oh, but what could I do personally? So we are now doing Ethereum privacy ecosystem research because I'm for sure even Vitalik doesn't know what's happening with the privacy on Ethereum because it's hard to follow all those projects. There are hundreds, well-developed, badly developed, some teams that are just, I don't know, coding on a GitHub. It's hard to follow every repo. There's too many privacy chats. But still, what we could do, always reminding that cypherpunk could be not just some, there's some dudes in the room who would be cypherpunks, but also maybe could be like a small cypherpunk, naive cypherpunk, beginner cypherpunk, and not Julian Assange in my blood type of person. That's also another joke, partially on Oasis and Roses, but partially that ecosystem need financial sustainability, for example, to maintain a proper anonymity set, which means that there should be a transaction within the privacy. And I hate tokens. I challenge many projects who's like, you don't need that token. But if you think about, in the long run, how they would sustain their operations, donations, oh fuck no. We switched to membership model. Logos is helping us. That's also the way to align. But then if you scale for mass adoption, you need to find a business model. I hope that people will really pay for an VPN, because that's an interesting, and all those smallish apps that they could use within the privacy. Again, one of my favorite, and what's the Ayn Rand? Ayn Rand? Yeah, the libertarian activist, commercial capitalist in privacy. I'm like, oh, here we go. You will make money on privacy. Fuck. There are many data projects who wants to make money on your data, promising you privacy. And it's a super wrong way, because from surveillance capitalism standpoint, that's no go, because people are making money on you the same as Google is making money on your data. That's just the wrong approach, and privacy won't save anything. And here, I also advise some people in the room to separate, let's say, privacy ethos from the commercial interests of a specific person, and we can't do things together, because there's a way when you can close your eyes on those people and saying they are bringing sponsorships, partnerships, people, events, they are running meetups, infrastructure for a potential privacy scalability. I really like when I used to work in NIM and I dealt with ambassadors, I think that it's a strange game that people pretend that their TVL is genuine, and not in NIM, but in general through DeFi, whatever, all these layer 2s, that they have wonderful TVL through these micro payments, let's say, and micro enthusiasts. And it's sad that poor people are trying to chase European or American projects and trying to make any money on them. And what I was trying to think working with them is like, what's the least bad thing we could do? So, for example, they were doing research. They were using, I guess they're now using ChatGPT, Canva, all these let's make fast content tools on the privacy use cases around the world. We built the biggest whatever privacy use cases database because they're content creators. But I would never think of them as the privacy people or a blockchain even people. And in that sense, I think that within the Web3 teams or privacy teams, it's enough to be humane and said, that's the rules of the market, but let's try to think around how they could do something genuine for us, because they're also people. And kind of, if privacy is normal, we should pitch in a nice way. Today I was thinking that Aztec is a terrible name for in the age of decolonization, and but that's just aside. And what's interesting that there are many people in the market who are like experts, for example, in marketing, and today they're in privacy protocols, tomorrow they're in the 5 protocols, in 5 years they will be in another DP and whatever will be trendy right now. And you can be kind of skeptical and thinking about them as kind of like a come and go, whatever. You don't really care about privacy, but somehow those people, if they're especially from America, and maybe sometimes, again, now I'm bridging connection with the Polygon. If Polygon Studio is bringing lots of brands and adoption within the crypto, within the gaming, for example, industry, this also helps to Polygon Research to do their Catalan privacy stack. So those people who are doing this type of American, I know, like if someone is following esports, Face Clan type of marketing or hip hop artist type of marketing, they're bringing to crypto. That's why NFT were so good, because those Americans know how to pitch those things. Let them do privacy as well, but maybe they will bring money and exposure to technologies, services, and researches. Robert, come. One of my favorite guys, privacy, we need to do privacy. Yeah, we're doing cool protocol, decentralization, blah. And I'm like, but you're all wearing suits. You look like those dudes from the, from the big tech conferences that are standing on a booth with the SAP or Oracle or Cisco and telling us, not me, but some 17-year-old, like, you need to believe in privacy. And it's all right. Like, I understand. Corporate privacy, there's a layer 2 kind of enterprise right now in Ethereum, either Koti or something like that. I'm like, there should be room for everyone, but we should really separate each other. And if they're sponsoring ETHDam, great, some hackers will have their money. The capital will move to the other more genuine hands, or although in our hand and culturally, we need to separate us, like privacy and scanning explorations, from those dudes in suits. Oh, that's almost like the nice song. And sorry, your profile has been before you entered the room. Original idea was to put some ZK researcher like ZK, Aragon ZK Research, because they spoke at our conferences. They are doing still private voting with Aztec for announced DAO, and we love private voting. But then I was thinking, those people sometimes are so boring and so right. They should do their own stuff, publish papers in cryptography journals. But then I found her, and what I love that, I don't know, 3 months ago or earlier, somehow, I don't know how, because Twitter is a terrible place to search for privacy use cases, but I found some use cases on like women rights. I guess it's like domestic violence survivors or something like that with the ZK. I'm like, wow, someone from the cryptography world is talking for the really strong use cases that you can tell others, and they will be like, oh, you're trying to solve that important issue. Wow, you're not trying to make other people more rich. And I think that it's important to find those researchers who understand what CASDEF, or like the people, I would say more people. They could talk with people, or they experience use cases themselves. Because when some privacy researcher from Switzerland is coming to me and saying, oh, let's bring privacy to poor, I'm like, I know, can you move from Switzerland first, and then let's maybe talk? There are many privacy folks in Switzerland, and this is challenging. And it's interesting that not every your privacy or cryptography research is boring. And that's my big revelation. I really loved it. Recently, I was, that's a guy whom we found out through New Ambassador program, I guess last year or 2 years, whatever. And it's a guy who advocates for privacy in favelas, when basically he's bringing his one notebook and he's explaining people what's a crypto, what's the node administration, stuff like that. Or he's going to university and he is teaching privacy in Portuguese language. And lots of builders, they need not compliance first, but they need to think that, oh, the world is not English-centric. The world is not German-centric or whatever. And when protocol companies are doing docs, that's sometimes I'm like, dude, go out of the street and look at the world, because some CTOs are like, yeah, we have all documentation in English. I'm like, oh, come on. One example, there were 2 Iranian or free developers who came to DevConnect the last year, and they were brought from Iran. And they don't know English. They speak Farsi. But they know a bit of code English, like command English, which is hilarious. But they needed someone who would help them navigate them. And Cheyenne X Consensus Diligence was helping them. And I super admire that we see more diversity in the game. And use cases in Brazil are different from, where are we, Netherlands, or from Mexico. And talking with these people, working with these people, is just great. And there was a big social movement before Occupy Wall Street, which is called 15M, I guess, movement on Plaza del Sol, Madrid. And I used to work with a guy who was a hacktivist there. And he said, and he was this guy like above 50, I guess, like 55 or close to 60. And he's like, I strongly believe in the youth generation. We need to invest in the youth. They will be developers of the privacy of the future. And that was his kind of like, not a right hand, but kind of like someone whom he really trusts. And I love this generational transition and support. With motivations, it's a bit sketchy, tricky, and problematic, because lots of these audiences, they exclude each other. And that's a problem straight away. So I would say that don't think that everyone in privacy is equal. Don't think that everyone in privacy think the same, but try to navigate in between, because generally maybe there's a bigger global goal. The guys who started to run Pirate Bay were originally politically non-aligned at all, but the challenge of spreading the knowledge, democratizing the knowledge, was bigger than everything else. Big thing is my revelation on coming here. Many privacy communities are fucking techno-elitist. They escape from Discord, they escape from Telegram, they hide in their smallish chats for 50 people. What's that? Like, is it techno, utopia? Maybe they should go to some small village and then advocate to each other, kiss each other in the cheek, instead of... Huh? Yeah, Zusalu, but for lunar punks, but like hardcore ones. And I'm like, I don't want to live in that world. I want to be inclusive, open, and share something I believe in. I even forgot what to add here. And instead, I would embrace the politics of care when we support each other, when we think about, for example, if we're traveling to a new country, what are the privacy use cases there, what are the people working there, how to help them, how to connect with them. Many people in Catalonia, for example, when I used to live, don't speak English well, so when they travel abroad, that guy who was on behind of ZK Sync, he's Ukrainian, I was like, oh, dude, you're poorly speaking English, but maybe he would be also interested in privacy use cases, so that's a tricky thing. Co-marketing is like sometimes the privacy companies who hate each other also collaborate and say, that's good. We should support each other instead of fighting. We should really embrace entry point for many people into privacy. Don't scare them with stand-under cash cases. More like making privacy education 101 inclusive, easy to think about. With corporations and VCs, many people will burn VCs. It's so hard. I know some privacy protocols who fundraise from A60Z, crypto, Binance, stuff like that. I work there. VCs really corrupt your mindset. If you have a token, they corrupt your thinking. You start to be preoccupied by token and not by your technology. So it means I'm finishing. I'm streamlining. So one recommendation here is to super separate toxic token-centric communication from research, community development, and that's how they want to overlap. A good example is like Polygon research type of stuff and Polygon Daily or Polygon Studio. I don't think that Jordi Bailina wants to pleasure the token hunters. That's not his ambitions and stuff like that. And I think that, and you can rewire stupid money into smart money. Our way is we are doing lots of building, something like L2Bit or MDB for privacy, data-driven one website, free forever, with 600 privacy tools structured and scored, smallish Ethereum grant and other stuff. Then we advocate a lot, so there's lots of complex activities you could do to align those people on the road to bringing millions of people into privacy. And the goal should be always super complex because, for example, for us, for me, the more builders will do privacy, the more products will appear at privacy, the more people would use privacy because of the products. And it's really sad when many technical people are coming and talking about wonderful technology, but they never mention properly, not use cases, I'm fed up with this word, but people, what kind of need is there for your product? Because many technical people, they live in the echo chamber, wonderful product everyone would use. Oh no, I've seen those teams who died along the way waiting for users or builders to use. That should be the other way around. Bring more product people or learn devs to become a bit of productish. Not actually, not lawyers, but first product and then maybe think about compliance. Because then compliance could corrupt all the minds. And security audits. 90% of privacy tooling never been audited properly. And when they tell you we were audited, check what was the nature of the audit. Usually smart contract. I'm like, not necessarily smart contract defines your privacy features. Privacy features should be audited first and then move forward. We want to push this a bit with Zokyo or other security companies, collaborate and create the first ever privacy features centric audit. So then the auditing company would be responsible if the privacy features are failed. And come to Berlin and Prague, we are doing summits, meetups, whatever, and we are nice. I like that we could really practice freedom, and I really encourage everyone, and we are moving that direction, test new privacy tools on a weekly basis. You don't like them, but test them, give a feedback, use coins once in a while for whatever reason. Not a big fan of drugs, but maybe you can find something alternative, interesting, like, no, I'm going there. Like, fucking books. Buy books with your Zcash or something else. Or just help person to in need with Zcash. So the person would be like, oh, I received a donation, but I don't have a Zcash wallet. I need to do an extra effort. And that's always helpful. Another a bit hilarious thing, I was thinking like, sometimes those presentations are boring and not interesting. Those are the movies that I recommend you to watch. Rada Judy is a perfect movie about relationship between capitalism and the Eastern Europe and basically poor people. First Reformed is really interesting comment on America, ecological activism, Christianity, whatever. Lucifer is just a surreal story on the intersection between technology, like drone surveillance, and the spirituality. And Touch of Sin from Josh Janke is just wonder. I think, and casual reminder that we have a war in Europe. And I'm just sending hi to all the Russians here who pretends that they are decentralized and American, and there's no political agenda in play. Thanks a lot.